Hello everyone, my name is Simon Snouder and this is a new podcast, and I have with you today a special guest. Her name is Sonia Zaknoune. She is the founder of KAZAconsultancy. Sonia, welcome.
Well, thank you, Simon. I love your energy.
Yes, it's early morning, but...
And thank you for saying my name properly and the company name properly. Thank you so much for having me. I was excited to be here because I have to say it is my first podcast. And I think nowadays it's important to be, on the social media. Everything is now, media. So happy to be here and let's do this.
I'm glad to have you here, and I just want to know more about you. So tell me more about yourself, and how did you end up here in Dubai? Where are you from?
So basically, I'm from France.
I could not guess that.
You couldn't do that. I'm from east of France, next to Switzerland.
Okay.
So basically, when people tell me, oh, Dubai, and like, my neighbors were cows, sheep, horses.
Yeah.
In the middle of the forest. So very nature. And so I moved to Paris when I was 21. I think I was already into going to bigger place. When you feel like you want more or more action. I'm not really sure at that time, to be honest, you're so young. So I worked there a couple of years, and fair enough, my story about Dubai is I was not planning to be here.
Yeah.
Probably like most of us, but I was supposed to go to New York, actually, to do a business school, because I was working real estate in Paris, and I realized we were having a lot of clients from abroad who wanted to buy properties in Paris. And French and English, we don't know how to speak English, zero. And I remember we used to have this client coming in the agency, and nobody was speaking English. And I said, you know what, I'm going to add a value to myself, and this value is going to be English. And I'm going to be working with rich clients to buy, beautiful properties in south of France. So this was a plan. So I'm like, okay, let me go to New York, do this business school for 8 months, come back to Paris, etc. And I was a bit worried to go directly to New York, not speaking English, And my friend was living in Dubai. So nobody knew much about Dubai back then. It was 2005, 2006. And I came here and I said, okay. And then she's like, why don't you stay? I don't know. I said, okay, I'm going to stay here for a month. I got between my student visa to go to New York. I paid my deposit to the school. I think it was $3,000 at the time, etc. So I'm like, okay, go back to France, take my stuff and go to New York. Was the plan. I never left. And I never been to New York, actually. This is a story.
Yeah.
So 16 years later, I'm here in Dubai.
Wow.
Yes. So I feel sometimes like you have to create things, but you're not in control of the end. So we say, I used to say, help yourself and the sky will help you. Like you create things, but I think you're not in control at the end of the result.
Yeah.
So maybe the plan for me was to leave, but not exactly where I thought.
I think so as well, because you wanted to leave, you made the action, and you wanted to maybe explore new avenues.
Yeah.
And but New York, Dubai.
I'm not sure that Dubai was the best place to learn English, though.
Yeah.
Because my English, it's broken English here. To be fair.
Yeah.
But it's what it is. So yeah.
And now 15, 16 years later, you're still here.
Yes, I'm still here. I think probably I told myself so many times, oh, next year I'm leaving. It's enough. Mm-hmm. But you're in this dynamic and you're here,
Yeah.
So
it's a common story that I hear often, that people come here, including myself. I never thought that I would be here now almost 10 years, and a lot of people say, let me try it out, let me see for a couple of years, and then circumstances create that you can settle here for a long time.
And I remember our friends at the time would be like, oh no, nobody's stable here.
Yeah.
Even ourselves, even relationship.
Yeah.
We say, oh no, I don't get involved. Everybody is here for a short time. But look, we are all, as you said, we're all here later on. We all met. I know so many of my friends, myself included. Mm-hmm. We meet our partner here. We start building family here. Yeah. of course, the question is always what next, because
Yeah.
it's always there, because we never have the citizenship. So I always wonder afterwards what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You know, but the country is also getting open to. We used to say in the past, you don't see old people in Dubai. You don't see old people but now you start seeing older generation. And the country is opening more to different type of visa for you to stay longer. So
True. And Sonia, what are you doing now? Like, and how was your journey towards getting towards your own agency?
I opened my company, KAZAconsultancy, almost 3 years now. Time flies.
Yeah.
It's my baby COVID, by the way. Yeah, I lost my job and I opened my company during COVID time. Yeah, 2020. So basically, the journey is quite interesting because my background is hospitality. I used to work for MR Hospitality Group.
Okay.
So, we used to say the joke, but who is MR? Because you see the branding everywhere.
Yeah.
So totally by chance, I started my career with MR. I didn't know the brand, I didn't know anything. And I started with the old town when nothing, Burj Khalifa was half. The Dubai Mall didn't exist, nothing. And I remember I used to sell a dream because I didn't understand the concept myself, So I was working with a group in sales and marketing for a couple of years. Then I stayed in the industry of hospitality, but on the other side, and I became a supplier. So I worked with different companies like Nespresso and more independent companies, and I started to travel in the region. This is where I started to do projects in Qatar, traveling to Kuwait, etc. And I think as a continuity, I realized how manufacturers were having challenges to understand the Middle East market, not only in projects, etc., but also in the culture. You don't do business here that you will do sometimes in your home country. So actually, I had this concept 10 years ago. My business card is the same that I created one 10 years ago. I paid, how you call this one, to have the email address and the website.
Yeah.
But I never did it. And you learn that it's never the right time to start your business. It's never the right time. So I was like, okay, if I didn't do it 10 years ago when the business was kind of good, I'm going to do it now, even though it's COVID and we don't know, we didn't know much what it was at the time. So so I work now with manufacturers who wants to implement their brand and product in the Middle East and basically enter to this market.
Yes, and is there a lot of interest right now from global companies?
100%. UAE for sure, and the Middle East in general, Saudi Arabia. So many projects, so much is going on. So even though I started the concept in hospitality sector because it's what I knew, now I work with product in cosmetic, food and beverage, clothing. Any brand who wants to come into the Middle East, I'm helping them to get the first steps. And definitely the eyes are also in Saudi Arabia. So I've been actually myself the first time to Riyadh. It was amazing. Yeah. But Dubai stays the platform, so it's important to have a presence here no matter what.
So Sonia, I'm wondering, because you have your core clients are manufacturing companies, but what if, for example, a makeup company or another type of company wants to enter the market? Is it fundamentally different for them to enter the market than a manufacturing company, or is the process more or less the same?
It is the same. I think for me, the most important is to understand who is your audience.
Yeah.
Who is your client? Is it B2B? Is it B2C? Do you want your product in retail stores? Do you want your product selling in hotels? Is it the mass? Is it niche? And from the moment you understand that, then you just position yourself. So I would say that, again, it can be also a service because nowadays it's all about, green technology, new technology. So even I work with companies who sell a service and they just don't know how to to do it here, who they should talk to, if you sell a device or I don't know, whatever idea you might have. So I basically use my knowledge, of course. And I think the key is also the network. You know, having a network helps you to get the first answers.
Yeah.
You know, who's in charge, who you should talk to. You know, the Middle East, in terms of organization here, it's so many people involved comparing to, I give this very basic example, but if you're a furniture factory in Spain and you sell your product in Spain, in France, or even in the US, you say, I want to sell my furniture in a restaurant. You might have to convince two persons. The chef, because usually, you know, he's in conceptualization process, and maybe his investor. Here, it's all part of groups, holding companies. So you need to really understand who you should talk to, who's in charge.
Yes.
And I think the problem is to come here thinking, okay, I'm talking to this manager, he will tell me. No, you really need to understand the internal processes. And, you know, we say Starbucks is part of Al-Shaya. If you say number of restaurants are part of MR, so you really need to understand. You cannot just randomly go and say, I'm selling my product. No. Registration. You need to register your product. You need to understand about the listings. It needs money, actually, to be here. If you don't have this base of investment, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, I think these are good learning steps for companies to know before they want to think about even entering the market.
Exactly.
I have seen so many examples where they're like, no, but we do it like this in our home country, or we do it like this in our markets.
Exactly.
So we're not flexible. We want to do it like that in the Middle East as well. Or companies coming here just thinking they will only make fast money.
It's raining gold, we know that, right? It's raining gold here.
Yes.
And for me, my process is also to really educating, and I spend a lot of time working with the clients sometimes on the packaging, the sizing. It's not the same here. For example, I had this client were into premium water, and they thought from Nordic countries, and they thought like, oh, the small bottle will be 250 millimeters and the big bottle will be 500 millimeters in a cafe restaurant. I'm like, no, here the small bottle is 500 millimeter and then it's 750 to 1 liter, because we don't drink water the same way than you drink water in Europe.
Yeah.
And just that as a base, if you start getting into the market but you don't know this, you're wasting your time.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
I see, and because it's also, the weather is different here and people need to drink more water.
And look, we go in restaurant, we are 10 people, big families, friends gathering. It's not the same concept also as Europe, where, you know, you go 2 or 3 people, like, and as you said, we just drink water differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who did you learn from, or who did you look up to when you were growing in your journey?
This is a very good question. To get into this business, it's really my own learning process, because I've been through this. I said to my clients, whatever you've been through, I've been through it. I've learned on the ground. I was going on site. I was knocking at doors. So I know, because I was doing it. So which is quite different when you're on the top and you didn't do the groundwork. So this is the reason why I know this, because I was doing it, and I made mistakes, and I wasted my time also, and you know, all these things. So now I'm just accelerating the process for you, because I don't want you to make the same mistake. Through this journey of being an entrepreneur, and not that I was looking for it at all, it just came just like that. I've been lucky to meet a lot of women entrepreneurs. And I started to be more and more sensitive with women who are creators, in terms of women who created really their brands as products. And again, I don't want to differentiate, but it's a little bit different than when you create a company where your product is a service, if it makes sense. You're in marketing, you are, I don't know, social media, etc. But when you really created your own brand of cosmetic, your own brand of food, your own brand of clothing line, I think the investments, I'm not talking only financially, of creating the factory, getting the loans, etc., needs so much courage, correct? Because it's such an investment emotionally, and I respect that so much. And this inspired me, and I'm like, wow, respect, because we don't see much. It's getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting there. But again, it's a man's word. And I see myself in the space of supply. Mostly companies are men-owned companies. So when I see, and again, I've been just because of the journey, met women who created brands, I want to help them a little bit more. And I said, you know what, you can do much more, again, with all the respect for everyone, than to be on a Sunday morning in the flea market.
Yeah.
You can sell your product to big corporation. You can sell your product in a hotel, have your product in the amenities in the room. You can, you can do so much more.
Do you think women creators are maybe, in general, a little bit more humble, a little bit more reserved in showing what great solution they have?
Yes, yes, because, I feel sometimes I'm not very creative, but I'm very business oriented. So sometimes you can be very good in what you create, but you don't know how to sell it, or you don't have the knowledge. You don't think, oh yes, I never thought about me selling my product to a hotel group. I never thought of it actually. I thought I can have in my little community. I'm selling and it can be, I believe it can be anything. Even if you do candles, if you create your little things, you can really, sometimes in hotel groups, you have some gift for kids, when they stay, for a little touch, a little gesture that the hotel will give. Like if you go to a hotel with your kids, you have something. And then if you create even a little, how do we call this one? I don't know the word in English, a teddy bear that you do it at home. Why not selling it to a hotel group? Why not? Why not presenting it? Yeah. They need these things. And my motto is don't wait for the client to come to you. Go to them, give them ideas. I believe wherever we go is always the same. So if you come to a director of F&B, if you go to a general manager, if you go to a housekeeper and say, look, I'm producing this. I'm thinking it will be amazing in your hotel. And of course, the question that comes after is production capacity, because it's a little bit different than, but if you sign a contract, you say, okay, I'm investing the money to produce bigger scale. So this is a little bit what I want to bring to those ladies, the possibilities.
That's a great input you have, and I think that is much needed, because when you have more examples that are successful, then more women will aspire as well to take that route and to be also a boss all the way from building up a company, manufacturing, leading it.
Yeah.
And I was speaking with one of the leading banks here with their senior management about ways that they wanted to help entrepreneurs with funding, with loans.
Okay.
And they were specifically targeting women. And they were telling me that they were facing a problem. The women entrepreneurs in general only wanted to borrow money that they thought was exactly enough. So they didn't want to borrow more than was needed. Yeah, they were very certain about that's what I need. While the male entrepreneurs, they said, as much as you can give me. That was in general the difference. And another thing was that as soon as they did get some money, they wanted to pay it back as soon as possible, because they saw it as a risk. Very cautious, very risk averse.
I think women are more. They want to feel safe. We can't make any generality. You can have women who just like to spend on shopping more than they earn. But yes, I think we tend to be a little bit more. Yes, I don't want to say serious, but also unfortunately, banks, and I'm glad to hear that, because we'll tend to to lend money a little bit less easily to women than men.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Again, mentality change, so, but
Yeah.
it's a fact.
Yeah, and I was seeing a post from one leading lady in the private equity and venture capital world, and she was saying that we need more women in the decision role, so that more funding will come also to women entrepreneurs. And it all makes sense, right? When the decision maker is also able to relate and connect better with the founders, then automatically they will be more willing to also invest.
Look, men and women have to work together. Like I give this example of because I just met them through my journey as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I never think of it before, and it was quite exciting. But again, I work with men all the time.
Yeah.
And we need you.
Yes.
So we worked all together. But yes, it's definitely a man's world, that's for sure. But yeah, no, it's exciting. So actually my first boss when I was in Paris was a lady, and I was 21, and we used to get jobs on newspaper, the offers. So I saw this offer of a job in the newspaper, and I sent my CV. The next day I had an interview, and I'm there, never had an interview in my life. And it was this 3 times divorced lady, and she was the first model I had as a woman entrepreneur, because she was taking an evening class. She had her kids, was taking evening class, and she became like a judge in the Chamber of Commerce of Paris. And I was like, and she was a bit, very eccentric a little bit, but extremely smart. And already I was like, wow, that's amazing. She was not sorry for herself. She was telling me the story, and I was super, super impressed.
Yeah,
very impressed.
It's good when you see that confidence, when you see that success from somebody else that you work with closely so early on in your career, and then you think like, oh, maybe one day I could also be like that.
Yeah. And the interview was not even an interview. And then I started working with her, and that's it, and I stayed 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until I was saying a bit earlier about my change.
Yeah. And what do you think has been your biggest challenges in your career, or in starting up your own company, or while you were working for companies?
For me, I think the main challenges, or the main advice, if I can say, because again, I've been through this, I think it's very important also as an entrepreneur to understand what that involves. For example, like when you talk about registering your company, understanding everything about your trade licenses.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to be knowledgeable, to take the time to ask a lot of questions. But in the same time, I would say it's never the right time. Just do it. I had this business idea 10 years ago. I do it today, and you expect sometimes to be ready to start, but you're never ready. And we are such in a fast-moving world that the proposal you used to do 1 year ago, the format has changed. Yeah. Your presentation now is different. You have to do it differently. So you're never ready. Just do it, go for it, and for me, it's all about do not shy away to ask for help. Like there is amazing people around us who are knowledgeable in what they do. It can be in the banking, it can be, I don't know, as you need a lawyer to read your proposal and you ask a friend. You can have a friend around you who is good in whatever field, and someone will say, can you help me with this? Can you help me? And you help, of course, back to whatever you know. Yeah. But I think it's how I say, don't be shy to really ask for help.
I'm surprised how many people are willing to help if you just ask them.
Yes, very much, very much. And I even ask sometimes people I used to work with in the past as being my boss, and say, look, I'm doing this at the moment, what do you think? And they're like, yeah, why don't you do this? And these ideas, you brainstorm at the end of the day. You take whatever you feel is right for you. But this is something I have learned. Really ask. Talk about what you do.
Yeah. And do you think that there's a misconception that if you ask for help, that you are embarrassing yourself or
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you're
for
making
sure.
yourself vulnerable?
Of course, because you want to show that you're very good in what you do and you know everything. It makes you, give you this legitimacy to be, we say you are a specialist, you're an expert,
Yeah.
and you should know everything, but we don't know everything.
We don't know everything, and I get, for example, asked all the time, like, tell me about the stock market, where's the direction going? I said, to be honest, the more I know, the less I know.
Yes.
And nobody can predict correctly anyway about where things go consistently.
No.
So I feel also in life, when the more you develop your expertise, the more you enrich yourself, the more you also see how many new doors open.
Yeah. For me, I'm learning because I'm good in many things, but one thing is which is not my forte is definitely computers. I'm bad.
Yeah.
And I'm learning every day. And nowadays, all about artificial intelligence, and I'm discovering app. I'm like, whoa! For me, it's a lifesaver. Like, because again, English is not, for me, it's not my main language. And of course, I can speak, but you write something, you overthink it, you want to use the right word, you want to look smart, in your text, and you limit yourself, and you get frustrated. And now you have so many tools to help you to save time, or even to be even better in the way you will write things. So, but it's a bit scary though, the things that are out there available.
It's good to have tools, but it's still you.
Yes,
that people
personality.
choose. Yeah. So when you have a company that is looking, for example, to enter a market, and they speak with 3 or 4 different parties, then if they choose for your company, it's because they met you and they have with you you convince them.
Yeah.
You make the difference.
100%. But we say you work with people you like.
Yeah.
If you don't connect, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So this for sure. Your personality is there. Your personality is there no matter what. You don't change. Anyway.
Yeah, and it's good to have personality, right? Otherwise, everybody will be the same.
It would be boring.
Yes, very boring. So what do you think were your hardest moments, or in terms of like when you were setting up your company, did you ever think you want to give up?
Yes. Because as much as I said earlier that we shouldn't shy away to ask for help, I think it's a lonely place.
Yeah.
When you're an entrepreneur, it's a lonely place. You're alone, regardless of the support you receive from your family, from your friends. You're alone. So it's very difficult to go through this, making the decision. You want to give up because sometimes you're not getting where you want to be. You need to be patient, and it's hard because you think of your finances. You think of so many things, and you're like, I need to close this deal. And the problem is that then you don't bring, I think, the right energy out there, because misery doesn't attract anybody.
Yes, it makes the things even worse.
Please, sign with me. And it doesn't bring anything positive.
Yes.
So you have to learn to say, just relax. And I think I've learned also that it's okay if I don't do nothing for one day.
Yeah.
If I don't feel it, it's okay. It's okay to wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to do nothing today. And don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah, and then you recharge, you get positive energy, and then you put it out there.
Exactly.
And that will help.
100%. So this is sometimes the main challenge is yourself.
Yes.
to always be motivated.
Yeah.
And at the same time, to be okay if you're not.
Yeah, but Sonia, you look like somebody that is motivating yourself, is pushing yourself, and is very much your own, view.
Yeah.
Of course, you need from other external factors also support and motivation. Now, what has been some of your best moments in your journey?
Oh, I think when I signed my first contract, I'm like, yeah, finally,
That's a nice moment. It's exciting. Did you tell them it was your first contract?
I might have said afterwards. I'm quite transparent though.
Yeah.
I'm an open book.
Yeah.
I'm very transparent.
Yeah.
But no, my look, for me, it's already, I'm proud that I'm already on my third year, because last year already I wanted to maybe stop, honestly. For me, it's every day an achievement. I'm also thinking to maybe also work on new business model. You know, you have an idea, and it's very important sometimes also to be open to change the model. Correct? So right now I'm working on this actually, to changing the business model in my approach, and doing more courses, and changing the formats on seminars, workshops. So yeah.
It sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
So you're going to not only guide companies in entering the market, but you're also going to potentially set up ways for people to learn about it without necessarily dealing with you.
Exactly. I think it's like, maybe I don't know, but maybe for some companies it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we want to go, we want to do, we want to be in this market.
Yeah.
But it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So as much as I love to work with a company and really work with them to the success story for the Middle East, I realize there is all these companies and people, regardless of the company, where there's people inside as an owner, who is like, oh, I don't know, I'm scared. I don't know, I don't know where to start. So to have this kind of immersion, to say, okay, this is the first step, and kind of giving, like a 2 or 3 hours of presenting the main concept of the Middle East, and to a couple of companies, and for them to think of it afterwards, and say, you know what, now I got a few informations, I'm ready now, or you know what, maybe I need to work on this before. Because by the way, one important thing also here in this market, it's important to be already established somewhere. It's not a market who will work with brands who just launched yesterday. And this sometimes is what people don't know. When you work and you target project, it's always like, here people like to have references. Where did you sell already?
Yeah.
In which market? With which clients? So sometimes I say, you know what, this is possible for you, but maybe do that in 6 months. Do that in a year. Work first on establishing yourself somewhere else, and then you come here stronger.
Yeah.
Right? So yes, so I think yes, to be able to talk and target more companies, and in the first step, and then to work with them more one-on-one.
So this is also educational.
100% educational is the right word.
Yeah.
Yes, it's exactly what I should use. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I didn't know how to say it.
Yes, but
Yes.
it's because I do that myself
yeah.
a lot as well. I have every month master classes. Now I
Exactly.
have a lot of every month also speakers, and it's a lot of education, explaining concepts, explaining how things work.
Yeah.
And then I believe in the intelligence of the people.
100%.
That when you provide them enough information, they can understand if it's a right decision for them or not to engage.
Exactly.
But I don't believe in this like black box.
No.
And jump in, because that's not good for both sides.
And I think it's why, again, I met so many entrepreneurs, so many, factors, how can I call it? I don't say factors, but anyway, companies who want to come, and it's where I get into this today, because I realized that some of them were like, it was too much to jump straight away.
Yeah.
So I realized that it was good because, hey, look, it's my business. I need to make this a success also.
Yeah.
So it was very important for me to say, okay, let's do it also on the other side, and get this approach, educational approach, as a first step. And maybe the company will be a bit more, feeling a little bit more comfortable, and work more internally on how they can do then the jump.
I actually had a contact of mine. She's a friend of mine, my mother-in-law. She contacted me. She's in sustainable fashion and she wants to enter this market.
Yeah, amazing.
And she asked me if she could, if I could connect her with the right person. So we went to do discussion, and I said it's so important that you have the right partner that you match with. Otherwise, it's a make or break deal. So it's a little bit difficult because it needs to also align on the same ideology, because sustainable fashion is something you cannot compromise on.
Yeah.
So you can have somebody in retail, but that person
you need someone who has the same vision.
Exactly.
Otherwise, and sustainability, I work in a lot of brands who are into sustainability a lot. And as you said, if you start presenting a product to someone who doesn't understand the concept, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You need to be having someone in front of you who already believe in this concept. Then you just have to present the product itself, of course.
Yeah.
The benefit and all this. But sustainability is it's amazing. You should connect her to me.
Okay. I did not know. I will certainly do that. And
I will help her.
yeah. And also when you were saying like know your audience, yes. Well, I've seen this going wrong so many times that
yes.
Wrong statistics. Yes. Like who are you targeting?
Yes. Know your market. Go to the store. Check what is happening.
Like I had this. I was part of the Netherlands Business Council for a while, and I had a company that came, and they wanted to enter this market, and they had the most expensive chairs in the world for a dentist.
Okay.
And they said it's a gold mine here. I said why? Well, everybody has a lot of money.
Oh my God, I can't. Yeah, it's what people think. Yeah.
Exactly what you were thinking. I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, where do you base that on? Well, right. There's Ferraris everywhere. So people, dentists will easily pay for a very expensive chair. I said, how expensive is it? It was really like we're talking here about tens of thousands of euros for a chair, a simple chair. So I was like, are you for real? Yes. And
it's what I'm fighting a lot because
yes, I was
the misconception.
Yeah. I said, do better market research.
Yes. Know your market.
Yeah.
Know your market. And sometimes I'm telling you something very basic, but you will sell, I don't know, protein bars.
Yeah.
But the client will not go by himself, check in supermarket, what is he selling? What is he selling already?
Yeah.
Because by the way, we find everything in Dubai already. So it's not, it's very advanced. Nobody's waiting for you. But I really believe though, if you do it in a smart way, here you can do very well.
Yeah.
If you're really smart in your approach, if you follow all these steps, I really believe you can do amazing.
Yeah, there is definitely opportunity. But you need to know where the opportunity is and how the doors open, connections, network.
Yeah.
There's so much that people need, and you cannot do it all alone. I mean, you can do it alone, but your journey will be much longer and much more costly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We say time is money, and I'm helping these factories, these companies, to save a lot of time and then a lot of money. Because again, you come to Dubai, it costs you a flight, it costs you the accommodation, you are here, you don't even know who to meet, you're not organized, you leave, you come back. This costs you a lot of money and of your time.
Absolutely.
So,
and do you see this educational new service, a new concept that you are going to launch? Is that your ultimate dream, or where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? And you say, if I have done that, I
see myself like in a beach drinking a little cocktail. I'm joking. For me, it's like, and maybe I shouldn't say it, but it's okay. We're in a safe place.
Yeah.
This program, I think, can be very good for me for the next step of being able to work wherever I want, if it makes sense. Mm-hmm. My heart will always be linked to Dubai and to the Middle East, that's for sure. And I know, because it's the market I know, it's the market I love, it's the people here that I work every day with and connect every day in so many industries that I love. And it's moving so much, like every day there's something new. But in the same time, in the dream, is to be able to be, okay, I can be based back to France, in Provence. I can be based somewhere else and still be linked to the Middle East, but be able to work somewhere else. This will be amazing. Not now, in a couple of years.
Yeah.
But yet that's a good question, actually. What's my dream? I don't know, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you change all the time. Like we were saying with my partner to take a catamaran and do the world tour. Yes, it's something we've been talking actually recently about. And I was like, should I do my online thing when I'm like in the Caribbean, and then the next day I'm in Japan, and the next day, like, you know, it's quite exciting, right? Because actually this program, I want to propose it to companies and organizations based abroad.
Yeah.
And it can be from anywhere.
Yeah.
So actually Chamber of Commerce, Business Council who are based abroad is who I'm going to propose this program to, actually. This is the idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea, and I think it's very good that they will have more information, and they will be understanding also more about the potential market they could enter, and they can also see if they would be a good fit at this moment, or is it the right time to enter, or maybe wait, prepare, maybe in 2 years, or maybe they realize that they are like the perfect match.
Yes.
And that they should jump in it because, you know, this market is waiting for them and they have not even thought about it yet.
Exactly. It's huge. And, you know, sometimes I talk about one part of, I think, the learning process is the culture.
Yeah.
And I will give you this really basic example. The Middle Eastern culture, the Arab culture in general, it's very, people are very, you know, we don't say much. People don't say no. They tell you you're amazing. They're very polite. I mean, the culture is super, super. I mean, the hospitality is amazing. Little coffee, little date when you arrive. I mean, it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
But I say, be careful, because you're going to leave from here thinking that you are amazing, that your product is amazing, you're going to make millions by the end of the year, but then you don't have proper feedback and news, etc. When sometimes the European culture is like, we are very tough, but then we deal with you. So I said you have to be very, very careful with that. Don't be overwhelmed by this positive attitude, because you can be disappointed. So it's very important, again, to have this approach where you understand how to deal with this, if it makes sense, huh?
It makes total sense that you say this. I would just, like I'm from the Netherlands, and in the Netherlands, the culture is very direct, even up to the rudeness of when you meet people for the first time. They say, no, this is not it. This is not going to work. I'm sorry, you know, not even giving much of time. Yeah, opportunity. No way in your wildest dream you will do a roadshow and everybody will be excited straight away. But you do know then where you stand straight away. Like you said, you know that you have a yes is a yes and a no is a no.
Or sometimes you have the comment for you to adjust.
Yes.
Because it can be also very constructive to say, this is going to work because of this format, because of this. So you know. Like when I was working in hospitality, it was quite funny because we have this French gentleman who was always complaining, but was always coming back. And people in the hotel used to hate me, saying, why is he always coming back? Like, you know, from the housekeeper to the front office. I'm like, I don't know. Like, oh, I don't want to be next to the elevator because it's noisy. Then we book him a room, bit far, wanted to please him. Then the next day he calls me. I'm like, he's going to be super happy. He's like, oh, it's a bit too far. Like, how can I know when it's too far? But sometimes in the Arab culture, a guest might be unhappy with something, doesn't tell you, and never come back.
That's very dangerous.
Correct. This is a very good example. And it's fact, it happens.
Yeah.
and you were not even aware of it.
Yeah. And how do you think you can encounter that? Do you, for example, actively ask feedback or do you lower your expectations that if you come here as a new company, you get a lot of positive feedback that you need to filter it down?
For me, as I said, like some companies think they have this misconception of the market. So either they believe that they know everything, they believe people have the money, they believe this and that. And I always go back to the roots. Please take the time to understand your market. Don't even meet anybody. Go around, check what's going on. Mm-hmm. If you sell furniture, if you sell water, if you sell cosmetic, if you sell whatever, go around, check what's going on. Wow. First.
I love
by
that.
yourself.
I love that.
Then you start meeting people. If you don't know the price, if you don't know your competition, who told you? Sometimes I say that. Who told you? You don't know. Nobody told you this. You think. Don't assume anything. Check around, ask. Like with a water story, did you go around, check what was the sizes, what proposed to you when you go to a restaurant or a cafe? Did you check the price? Because the price was crazy also. I said, would you sell in your country? No, sorry, would you buy in your country a bottle of water for $10? No. What makes you believe that people will do it here? People are educated, they travel the world, they know things. They know that it's not supposed to be that price. Especially here, we're all coming from, first of all, we travel a lot, all of us.
Yeah.
So we are aware, you know? So I'm just saying, take the time to understand. You should be curious yourself. And then you start meeting people, buyers, distributors, whatever. Mm-hmm. But be aware. And I think knowledge is power, you know? And if you go to a meeting saying, I know that you are serving this brand, I know that you are having this price, I know that you distributed, but I believe that we can propose this differently. Then the person in front of you start listening.
I think that's great advice, and to go yourself and to discover yourself and be curious. Like I will give you an example. I had a client of mine who went to Brazil, and he said everything was so expensive, from the taxi rides to going around. And I looked at that market. I'm like, this is not good. We're not going to enter this market because right now it doesn't make sense. The economy doesn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, it was so funny you said that, because a couple of years before him, I came there and I just asked for a taxi ride, and they wanted to drive me around for almost €100. They wanted to give me a tour for a couple of hours.
Well, this is as a tourist, you get
yeah.
everywhere you go.
I know, but I said no negotiation, but everything was expensive, and the real was against the euro as well. It was very high. But he had other touch points, other simple examples where he went around. And then he said it was not the right time. So he did not enter, and then the whole economy plunged like 1 or 2 years after that. And they were ready to make big investment if needed, the company. And it's just great tip that you give, that you explore, look around. What other tips would you say these are, the core foundations for business? Because you named a couple of them.
When I said know your market and just try to understand before you jump in, I would also add, in that case, when you see that, okay, now my product would be amazing at this particular time, just go for it. Mm-hmm. Don't wait, because it's a very fast-moving world. So as much as you need to understand many things before you get in, if when you did this job and this exploration and this understanding and whatever, and you say, okay, now I'm ready, go for it.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Yes, if you believe your product is right now, the right time, your approach, your price, everything, go for it now. Because then I have the case of clients who are like, first of all, the product is amazing. The market is ready for it, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, I'm not sure, maybe I should. No.
What are you waiting for?
I had a case, actually. I was myself pushing her to do it almost, which is not really my role. But I'm like, no, you have to be, before, if you wait, you're going to be, other people are going to do it. It was innovative. It was trendy. It was everything. I didn't know because one thing exciting about my job, I discover things every day.
Yeah.
Every day I discover things. Alternative leather made out of grape. A couple of years ago was vegetal egg. I didn't know this was a thing. I discover things every day. Yes. So, but so to answer your question though,
yeah.
the three core, I would say, I'm sorry, but I always go back to the same thing. Please know your market. Please know what's going on. Don't go there without knowing what is going on.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, and it makes you also, you can be very strong here. Just reset and be objective, right?
Yeah,
see things how they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's your product, you love it, of course, you believe in it, but it's good to have a step back, and you need to be passionate about what you sell, that's for sure. You need to be passionate about what you create. But unfortunately, sometimes it's not as great as you think, so you need to also calm down a little bit and position yourself, listening to the market feedback.
And have you sometimes seen surprises where companies did not think that their product will be very suitable for this market, or reverse, where companies thought their products will be amazing for this market, but the feedback or the audience was just not at all receptive for it?
Yeah, it happens because you have to also educate the consumers.
Yeah.
And sometimes some markets are not ready. I can give this example about non-alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
It's now a thing. But when it started to be in the market some time ago, the consumer here was not 100% ready. It's alcohol, it's not alcohol, the packaging looked like it.
Even I was not ready.
Of course, I'm not ready. And we are still in a Muslim country, so you say, okay, this is going to be amazing because people don't drink alcohol, so then I can sell that.
Yeah.
But then as a consumer, people were confused. Packaging for them looked like alcohol. So this is an example. But though the potential was there. So it's the approach and education to the consumers. Because you have the buyers for retailers and you name it, but what about the consumer?
Yeah.
Always keep the consumer in mind.
So the last question for today would be, I want to ask you an open question. What do you think the viewers have not heard yet, that either I have not brought up or you have not brought up yet, but you would like to share with them?
Look, I would like to say that I love dancing. We need to enjoy life.
Yes.
We need to enjoy life.
Yeah.
And no matter what, live the moment. Because we can worry as an entrepreneur, in life in general, actually. We don't have to be an entrepreneur. But yeah, enjoy life. We say sometimes money comes and goes, but memory lasts forever. And it's all about finding the balance, about going for your dream, going for your independence, going for your project, but still enjoying life with it. So,
but
don't put yourself in danger. Don't spend the money you don't have.
Yeah.
Don't think that you can die at 100 years old.
And know your audience as a company.
And know your audience as a company. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
No, Sonia, it was fantastic having you here. For the viewers, she is the founder of KAZAconsultancy. She helps companies to enter the market in the Middle East. Sonia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
It was
Simon.
my pleasure.
It was easier than I thought.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.